Who's your favorite women's basketball player?
Caitlin Clark.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like Paige Bueckers?
Well, she's okay.
The Paige Bueckers-Caitlin Clark comparisons are in full swing, and everyone, even Luka, has something to say. Fresh off her March Madness triumph and going #1 overall in the draft, the expectations are sky high for Paige heading into her first pro season. Some in the media say Paige is a better all-around player than Caitlin. They point to her college championship. While of course Caitlin's fans are dropping every metric imaginable, including ticket prices. And things just got even more heated now that ESPN released their prediction for Paige's stats. We'll get into that in a minute. But basketball is more than just fame and points per game. And in just the past few days, we've gotten a few sound bites and snapshots to prove it. Things were said by both players that, intentionally or not, stirred the pot and got both fan bases worked up all over again.
I'm gonna be honest, Paige Bueckers well and truly has given ammo to, the biggest Paige Bueckers haters.
But Paige's interview with Time magazine stirred up the most debate. She was asked point blank about the Caitlin Clark comparisons. And while some like her response, some say it could be the ultimate tell of how this comparison will play out over time, especially when you compare it to what Caitlin said just after. Let's get into the quotes, the reactions, and of course the stats predictions. But first, like this video if you cannot wait for these two to finally face off in Dallas at an NBA arena because of Caitlin.
So far, there's already statistical evidence, actual analytics, facts don't care about your feelings, showing that no, she is not moving the needle in women's sports or women's basketball nearly to the effect of Caitlin Clark.
I'm not here to give you a 30-minute stat dump comparing Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark. You've seen that before. So here's what matters. Both Paige and Caitlin were electric from the moment they stepped on a college court. They came into the NCAA at the same time. They lit up highlight reels, and they were destined to be compared from day one. Not because they're the same player, but because they were the best. But they took very different paths.
Two-man again was strong. The step-back three, and hits it! First half against Arkansas State. She's taking matters into her own hands here. Spins and hits her fifth. Bueckers left unattended. Money.
Paige was the golden child of UConn, the most storied program in women's college basketball, playing under the legendary Gino Auriemma. She lived up to the hype right away, winning National Player of the Year as a freshman. Then, after a rough few years of injuries, she roared back to help lead her team to a national championship in 2025. Her story is one of grit, talent, and finally, redemption. So yeah, Paige has earned every bit of praise. But Caitlin, that's a whole different level.
I think early in this ballgame looking to settle in. With the screen, Clark needs no room. And I don't know. This team and the grit and the pride and the toughness that Caitlin Clark knocks down a three.
Caitlin Clark didn't just lead Iowa to back-to-back national title games. She rewrote the record books along the way. She became the NCAA's all-time leading scorer, not just in women's basketball, but across both men's and women's. That alone put her in rare air. Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers missed a full year recovering from a torn ACL, which gave Caitlin a head start heading into the WNBA. And, well, we all saw what happened next.
Clark thought about pulling up from three, will dip inside and lay it in.
Caitlin coming off that 20-point performance right here, handling the physicality of Benijah Lane.
Clark, step back three, knocks it down.
Caitlin didn't just enter the league, she exploded into it. She dragged a lottery team to the playoffs, broke 62 WNBA records, led the league in assists, and instantly became the face of women's basketball. Her rookie season was a cultural earthquake. And now, the Paige versus Caitlin comparisons are back, and louder than ever.
He just calls it like he sees it right here. You see this, 18.9 million viewers. Paige Bueckers, 8.5 million viewers.
They started with the March Madness ratings, and when you look at the numbers, Caitlin didn't just win, she dominated. In 2024, Caitlin's NCAA championship game between Iowa and South Carolina pulled in 18.9 million viewers, with a peak audience of 24 million. Now fast forward to 2025. Paige Bueckers led UConn to a title, Big moment? Absolutely. But the viewership? Not even in the same league. And then came the WNBA draft.
With the first pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Dallas Wings select Paige Bueckers.
Both were selected number 1 overall. Caitlin to the Fever in 2024, Paige to the Wings in 2025. But Caitlin's draft shattered records with 2.45 million viewers on ESPN, making it the most watched WNBA draft of all time. Paige's draft? It didn't come close. From ratings to revenue to raw attention, Caitlin's been in a different orbit from day one. And then you have the chatter from league executives.
It's really hard to impact the game as a rookie. One GM said, what Caitlin did last year was so special and unique. Paige is a special player. I think she'll be a good player this year, but I'm not expecting a Caitlin-like impact, and it's an unfair bar to set. Yes, obviously.
Behind the scenes, WNBA general managers have been pretty candid, anonymously of course. Multiple reports suggest they believe Paige Bueckers will be a great player, with the potential to become an all-star and maybe even a Hall of Famer someday. But almost universally, they agree on one thing. She's not going to be Caitlin Clark. And now we've got the numbers to feed the fire. ESPN just dropped their rookie season projections for Paige Bueckers, and let's just say it's got people talking. They've got her averaging 16.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4.1 assists, 1.8 steals, and 0.8 blocks per game, while shooting 51% from the field and 82.2% from the line. Now let's be real. For a rookie, that's an excellent stat line. Scoring over 16 a game? That's not just promising, that's all-star territory. But of course, when you stack it up against Caitlin Clark's actual rookie stats, you get a clearer picture of why the hype for Clark was on another level. Clark finished her rookie season with 19.2 points, 5.7 rebounds, 8.4 assists, 1.3 steals, and 0.7 blocks, shooting 41.7% from the field and an elite 90.6% from the free throw line. She did all that while breaking 62 records and dragging a last-place team to the playoffs. So while Paige's projections are strong, Caitlin's already done it, and more. The bar has been raised. Now the question is, can Paige match it? Or is the gap between great and generational just that wide? Well, the answer may lie in these sound bites from recent interviews. A new interview with Time magazine just dropped, and Paige Bueckers finally addressed the never-ending comparisons to Caitlin Clark. That's what the media cares about, Bueckers said. That's what everybody who watches basketball cares about. I used to be bothered by it, but I've done so much work on myself and my approach. The ability to not run a race in comparison, to run my own race and worry about that. Caitlin's a phenomenal player. We're also completely different players. While it doesn't seem like much on the surface, fans and analysts were quick to call her out.
And Paige Bueckers was talking about feels the comparison between herself and Clark are media driven. She intends to focus on herself throughout her rookie year. They play the same position, they're the same age. I'm sorry. Yes, the comparisons are media driven, but they're media driven because you play the same position, you are the same age, and you're saying, yeah, it's narrative driven. But by that logic, LeBron versus Kobe debates in the 2000s were narrative driven. Of course they were. Every debate is narrative driven. Every debate is media driven.
While sure, Paige and Caitlin aren't the same style of player, let's not ignore the obvious. They play the same position. This isn't like comparing Caitlin and Angel Reese, where one is primarily a defensive anchor and the other's dropping logo threes and dishing dimes. This is a straight-up point guard comparison. Same age, same role, same expectations. And that's exactly why Bueckers' quote raised some eyebrows. Yes, it may have been diplomatic. Yes, it may have been honest. But let's be real. It didn't land like a competitor ready to take over the league. And saying the comparisons used to bother her, that doesn't scream, give me the ball, I'm taking over. That sounds more like someone still working through the pressure of the spotlight, exactly the kind of spotlight that Caitlin Clark owns.
But ability only gets you so far. There's a reason why we've seen guards. There's a reason why Jordans, the Kobes, the LeBrons are the all-time greats. There's a reason for all that. And there's a reason why there are players that would have had similar ability to them in their teens and early 20s that were great, were really good, but were not that level.
It's true. The best players don't flinch when the spotlight hits. They lean into it. They don't dodge the comparisons. They don't shrug off the expectations. They own them, because that's what greatness demands. And if there's one athlete who knows what it's like to carry the weight of the sport on her back, it's Caitlin Clark.
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5.6 turnovers.
Those are hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
Yeah.
When Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA, no rookie had ever carried a bigger target on their back. The microscope was massive, the scrutiny, unrelenting. Every move, every shot, every word was dissected. And yet, she pushed through it. She didn't just survive the pressure, she thrived in it. Set records, led her team to the playoffs, proved every doubter wrong. But now, after a blockbuster offseason where the Fever reloaded with championship-caliber talent, the pressure isn't easing up. It's skyrocketing. Especially after this.
So if you thought we arrived,
2 more for Boston.
now you know. We're not here for the moment. We're here for the takeover.
We've never seen a campaign this bold, this confident, and this unapologetically dominant. The Indiana Fever's Now You Know campaign isn't just a marketing move, it's a declaration. It's putting every other team on notice that the Fever aren't just here to compete, they're here to take over. And yeah, it puts a target on their backs. Every team is going to bring their A game. Every road game will feel like a playoff game, but that's exactly how the Fever want it.
It's clear the Indiana Fever are ducking no smoke heading into the 2025 WNBA season. They told us right to our faces with the Now You Know campaign and the Every Game is a Home Game shirts that they understand their place in the sports pecking order and they aren't apologizing for it.
But the pressure is squarely on Caitlin Clark, the leader of the team and the face of the league. She is the reason teams are moving games to NBA arenas. She is the reason 1.3 million people tuned in to a preseason game. She is the draw, the headline, the one everyone's paying to see. And it would have been easy for her to take the safe route. Temper expectations. Play the just taking it one game at a time card. Smile, nod, move on. But that's not what she did. In a recent press conference, when asked directly about the pressure and the expectations heading into this season, she stared it down.
There's always expectations and, pressure to perform. And at the end of the day, we play basketball because we love it and we've done it all our life. And I think just reminding ourselves of that, we understand the spotlight. We understand, people expect this team to win. And that's exactly what we want to do for our fans and for this organization.
But then she created the contrast. While most players might downplay the hype, Caitlin leaned into it.
I think me personally, I wouldn't want it any other way. We get to show up every single night and there's people cheering for us and you get to play the game you love. So if there is that pressure, you do feel that pressure, I think that's just something you embrace. That's always what I've tried to remind myself over the course of my career is, you just rise to the occasion because you wouldn't want it any other way.
See the difference? She's not shrinking under the weight. She's rising with it. She's living for the pressure, for the spotlight, for the opportunity to take down giants, the haters, the legends. She wants it all.
Look at that. That's somebody who doesn't shy away from everything. You gotta love the way she approaches stuff.
It's what she's done her entire career. Step up when the lights are the brightest. Back in college, Caitlin Clark didn't walk into a stacked blue blood program. She didn't have a roster full of 5-star recruits backing her up. Iowa was built different, literally. Her supporting cast was mostly 3-star recruits, and yet she elevated them. She didn't just compete, she took down juggernauts. She ended UConn's run. She ended South Carolina's perfect season. She went toe-to-toe with super teams and dropped monster performances with the whole basketball world watching. Now to be clear, I'm not saying Paige Bueckers shies away from pressure. She had an amazing college career. But here's the thing. There's a difference between playing with greats and being the reason greatness happens. And it's not just about points or assists, it's about tone, language, mindset, what you say when the mic's in your face and everyone's wondering if you're the one. Caitlin doesn't just want the ball, she demands it. That's the killer instinct. That's the edge. That's what separates great players from legends.
You can tell by just the attitude of Caitlin Clark in general when she's playing that Caitlin Clark wants to beat everybody. She wants to beat the best. She wants to be the best, and to be the best, you have to beat the best. Most of the greats are driven by a want to be the best and to beat the best.
Caitlin definitely has that mindset, the one coaches dream about, the kind that doesn't just want the pressure, but thrives in it. Multiple coaches, both at the college and pro level, have said the same thing about her. Her mentality is what separates her.
Okay, it's not as personal. For the really, the Kobe's, the Jordans, the Caitlins, maybe Diana Taurasi's, it is never personal. We just want to win the effing game.
Right.
So we're going to do what we think we got to win the game. So that mentality is really different for the majority of people who played the game.
There's a reason Caitlin Clark didn't falter under the pressure. After getting beat up in her rookie season, physically and mentally, she didn't complain. She hit the gym, she bulked up, she took the Olympic snub, which many saw as the biggest slight of her career, and didn't spiral. She turned it into fuel. This was her reaction.
The thing she said was, "Hey coach, they woke a monster," which I thought was awesome.
Being left off the Olympic team was the ultimate comparison test, and Caitlin Clark didn't complain, didn't deflect, and didn't say it was unfair. She didn't blame the media. She didn't call it disrespect. She just got better, came back stronger, put up 23 points per game, and finished 4th in MVP voting as a rookie. And look, I'm not saying Paige Bueckers can't face adversity. She absolutely has. Coming back from a torn ACL to lead UConn to a national title and go #1 overall is no small feat. And there's no doubt she's going to have a great career. If she hits that 16.5 points per game ESPN predicts, that's an all-star level rookie year. But that little moment, the subtle tell, when she said the comparisons used to bother her and that she doesn't want to be compared at all, that might be the difference. Not just between her and Caitlin, but between being great and being legendary. Because legends want to chase the best. They want to take them down. They don't shy away from it. They live for it. If you're still here, drop a basketball in the comments to say hi. Thanks for watching.